All right, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't have enough time to grab the water like I wanted, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be fine as I go through this read through. So let me just say this. Doing multiple chapters throughout a Sunday, I thought it was going to be a lot. Just thinking about when I would eventually get to Jujutsu Kaisen and add it to the list of things I do in a single setting, I thought it was going to be a lot, but it's not. It's not. It's so easy. It's so easy for me, and I'm actually happy that I'm able to do this. Yo! Good to see you, Cdes. Welcome back. Psycho, you're being put through the ringer today. 3 reactions in a row. Oh, I wouldn't call it being put through the ringer, because I enjoy doing this. And if I commit to something, I like it's not even, this isn't draining to me at all. this is this isn't draining to me at all. But let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way because we got one last chapter to do today, and then I'm gonna rest because family is coming here to get to bring me some food because I'm out there hungry right now. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome to my Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reaction. Welcome to another Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reaction and review. I'm excited to see this one because this is where we get to find out Naoya's domain expansion. In the last chapter, Maki pretty much reached a newer level of her new heavenly body state that she's in. She's now on a level that pretty much puts her in the same league as Toji Fushiguro, who we all used to call Toji Zenin. And she was able to not only keep up with Naoya Zenin in his cursed spirit form, but also pretty much effortlessly dodge him, which angered him even more because he sees himself as the highest above everyone else. He doesn't see anyone who has any sort of power in the same league as him or even Toji Fushiguro. And anyone that looks like they're about to get close to that, he sees it as an insult because he sees himself as the only one who's capable of being in the same range as him. And this causes so much anger that when his body gets sliced by the swordsman, the reincarnated swordsman, he still refuses to die and causes his main human body to come out of this cursed spirit body he was reincarnated in and came back as, and he screams out domain expansion. And now we're about to see Naoya Zenin's domain expansion. All right, let's get started with this chapter because I know it's going to be good. Domain expansion. Well, actually, chapter 198, Sakurajima Colony, part 8. Domain expansion. Time Cell Moon Palace. And it shows Naoya Zenin out of his spirit body as it shows a giant eye behind him. And then the entire domain opens up, and it's just Naoya Zenin in front of this weird fleshy eye-like structure as the swordsman, the reincarnated swordsman and sumo wrestler are there in this domain, and they're looking into this eye. And then, all of a sudden, film reels jab into their shoulders. They jab into their shoulders, and then it disappears, and then it just shows Naoya Zenin because this is his hand sign. This is his curse technique domain expansion hand sign that he's using, and he's just sitting here with his hands like this as both of them go, like the old man goes, "Nothing happened." And then Mio goes, "Was that a misfire? Either way, it's do or die time. It's time to attack." But then all of a sudden, they both get cut instantly across their eyes and their heads before they can even move. What? Huh? And then it cuts to Naoya as he says, "It's your first time seeing this. Anyone I touch has to move like me or they freeze up for 1 second. In this domain, it seems the techniques..." Oh, wait. Oh, this is them figuring it out. "In this domain, it seems the technique's target is even more precise." No, wait, this is still Naoya. "In this domain, it seems the technique's target is even more precise. It can even target individual cells. If you try to move, they might get out of whack. So his domain expansion, when people get hit by the attack in his domain, even down to their very cells, gets affected. So even if your cells are moving, that counts as you moving and you get attacked. They might get out of whack. And then that happens. So the blood that shot out of them is from their cells moving in their body. This domain expansion functions on the subatomic level. Should have gotten water. This domain is working on the subatomic level. So even if they don't move, their cells are moving inside of their body. So basically, they can't move at all. They even have to force their cells to stop moving, which means they basically would have to die in order for this domain to not affect them. Because you can't just stop your cells from moving in your body. They're constantly moving. But this domain makes it so that even your cells moving counts as movement, and it attacks you when it happens. And then Mio falls over to the ground. Yeah, it's a good domain, and I feel good. Anyway, where did Maki die? As usual, her presence. And then it shows him trying to look around because Maki's not in this domain. He cast this domain with everyone. He cast this domain and it caught everyone in the domain, but Maki's not here. Where's Maki? And he's looking around as he's thinking, no, that's not right. This is my domain. She's like Toji. She lacks cursed energy, but I should still be able to locate her. And then it shows a swordsman, I forget his name, trying to move, but his hands get sliced off. Like his whole arm gets sliced off the moment he tries to move. Including the demon sword that's in his hands. And then Naoya goes, I'm thinking, stop messing around. And then all of a sudden, Naoya gets stabbed straight through the chest. Naoya gets stabbed straight through the chest from behind, all of a sudden. And then we get narration. Like Toji, Maki doesn't have any cursed energy, so barrier techniques treat her as a building. Now you must use an actual structure as the barrier's exterior like Fushiguro did in Tokyo Colony No. 1. But unless she consents, it's just my throat is dry and it really wants me to cough. Unless she consents, he can't trap her inside the domain. Wow. So Maki's current state of being makes it so that this domain expansion he was counting on killing her can't even affect her. It won't allow unless she says I want to be in this domain, she can't be in the domain. Unless she says she wants to be in there. That's a little flaw there, and it shows Maki is the one who stabbed Naoya through the chest with the sword. And he's standing there, and she's standing there behind him, glaring at him as he's starting to bleed from the mouth. And then it cuts to a handshake as it shows Maki shaking hands with her sister Mai, whose death allowed her to gain this new body that is comparable to Toji Fushiguro. And then Maki goes, you understand me now, right? I even let a sweaty middle-aged man squeeze me to show you an example. So you, and this is Mai talking, so, you were able to break it, huh? And then Maki just goes, yeah. And then we have narration. The blade that Mai left was a replica of the cursed tool Split Soul Katana. It can bypass the toughness of many substances to cut the soul. However, exerting that power fully requires eyes that can observe even the souls of inorganic matter. And then it cuts to Toji Zenin. Well, it cuts to Naoya. It cuts to Naoya, who spins his whole head 180 degrees as he goes, he's thinking, stupid trash, you couldn't finish me with one blow, so you lose, because you can no longer move in this domain. And then it cuts to him morphing his body around and shifting it as he tries to bite down on him, and he screams out, "No matter how much time passes, you're still..." And before Nalia's face elongates like Beetlejuice claymation style towards Maki, a cut appears through his entire skull instantly before he can even move.
What? That's wrong. Why?
The domain's guaranteed hit couldn't recognize Maki because she has no cursed energy. And it shows Maki is immune! Oh my goodness! Maki is the Maki is the worst opponent Nalia could have ever faced, because not even his domain expansion can affect her because she lacks cursed energy. The way domain expansions work is that they target, when the guaranteed hit of a domain expansion targets the individual inside the domain based off of their cursed energy. If you have cursed energy, the domain is guaranteed to hit you. It's not based off of the levels of your cursed energy, but if you have cursed energy, you are guaranteed to be hit by this domain. The only way to combat this is if you override that domain expansion with your own superior domain, or, as we see here, if you have no cursed energy to speak of, that's one way the domain can affect you. And that is how Maki basically just split Nalia's head straight through. The domain's guaranteed hit couldn't recognize Maki because she has no cursed energy. And as blood splatters over her face a little bit, we see this domain start to crack and shatter. And then the old swordsman goes, "Huh! We barely made it! Kappa!" And then Mio goes, "We're really alive?" And then the old swordsman dude, looks on as Maki walks away. 12 years after his death, a demonic fighter equal to Toji Zenin was fully realized. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the chapter. Maki took down Naoya Zenin and has ascended to his level. A demonic fighter equal to Toji Zenin has been realized. Maki is now in the same league as Toji Zenin. Whew. 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 This was a good chapter. Oh my goodness, that was really good. That was really good. I enjoyed that chapter. And every single time we see Maki fighting, she's been fighting and been getting stronger. Now, she is equal to Toji Zenin. And she pretty much just killed Naoya Zenin for the last time. She basically bodied him when he was human. He came back as a cursed spirit because of his negative energy surrounding him due to his death. And when he came back, he was far stronger than he was far stronger than he was in his human life. But even all that superior speed, all that superior power, even drawing out a domain expansion wasn't enough to stop Maki. Maki just... Oh my goodness, Maki is so broken right now. She is so broken. Capri from Capra, welcome. Yo, to you as well. I'm done with this chapter. I'm just going to give my final thoughts. Then I'm going to get myself some water because I've been coughing like crazy. I'm out of that cold fever that I had. It's just that it wants to linger, a little bit wants to linger in my lungs and disrupt my speech whenever I'm speaking to you. Maki has become so strong. So ridiculously strong. She used to look at her not having cursed energy as a curse, and that is actually what ostracized her from the entire Zenin clan. But after Mai sacrificed herself in order to release Maki from her earthly boundaries, like her physical boundaries, she is now ascended to the same level as Toji Zenin, that the only person who could take on Toji Zenin was Satoru Gojo. So think about that for a second. The only person that was able to combat and ultimately defeat Toji Zenin was Satoru Gojo. And Satoru Gojo is the strongest person in the whole series. He's the strongest sorcerer in the whole series, with strength that no one has been able to surpass. Sukuna's domain neither has a barrier nor it traps anyone. Yeah, that his domain functions on a very different level. It just erects it. It just erects a field that allows his techniques to permeate throughout a certain radius. It's not a barrier and it doesn't trap anyone, but if you're inside of its radius, you are gonna get royally messed up. So his domain is unique. Because unlike regular domain expansions, if we cut back to the Shibuya incident when he activated his domain expansion, he carved out a massive portion of the city when he erected it. Like a massive portion of the city was just completely erased. Versus regular domain expansions, it is literally an enclosed environment in a certain area that does not affect the area outside of it. So Sukuna's domain is completely different, and his sure hit targets everything inside his domain, including buildings, inorganic and organic and and inorganic things. It targets everything. Matter of fact, let me pull up Sukuna, because for him, let me go down to, he has cleave and he has, what is it called? Jujutsu. Let's see here. He has dismantle. So his domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, it doesn't create, like Capri said, or is it Chapri? Am I saying your name right? Please, apologies if I'm saying it wrong. As Chapri said, Sukuna's domain expansion creates a Buddhist shrine decorated with skulls. Malevolent Shrine has a unique trait. It doesn't create a separate space using a barrier. A binding vow is formed by allowing an escape route, which vastly increases the guaranteed hit effective area with a maximum radius of nearly 200 meters. Now, the more detailed explanation of the domain is that the environment, the effect is, it's different from other types of domain expansions in that it doesn't create a separate space within a barrier. Instead, Sukuna can directly manifest it onto reality, which, while able to have sure hit effects without requiring a barrier. The limitations of a domain expansion is that it requires that whatever's inside of the barrier be in it, and then it gets affected from within. The way Sukuna's domain expansion works is that it just affects reality. It can affect reality and the radius in which it hits. So it doesn't have to worry about the limitations of a barrier and being in an enclosed space. It just affects the world itself. So his domain is kind of overpowered. Within Malevolent Shrine, Sukuna is able to utilize Cleave and Dismantle to relentlessly cut anything in its radius. Dismantle targets inanimate objects, while Cleave targets anything with cursed energy. Anything with cursed energy. So going back to this chapter, when Naoya used his domain expansion, it affected both the old guy and Mio. I always forget this dude's name. I don't know if it's Dorio. I think I might be wrong. When it affects them down to their very cells. Time Cell Moon Palace. So let me pull up Time Cell Moon Palace. So it doesn't have everything in here. Domain expansion, Time Cell Moon Palace. And it just affects the cells. So if you move, you get attacked. But even all of that meant absolutely nothing because Maki is just that strong. Maki's just that strong. She's gotten to a point where she is now on the same level of Toji Zenin. And not even Naoya with his massive speed boost after becoming a cursed spirit was enough for him to overcome her. Even when he became a cursed spirit and was using his supersonic speed to ram her, he did draw a little blood from her, but not enough to keep her down. And it wasn't until she went into like a sumo ring match with Mio that her power and her abilities gained an even further advancement to the point where his speed as a cursed spirit wasn't enough to take her on anymore. So he became so desperate to take her on that he used a domain expansion, not realizing that since Maki has no cursed energy, she's not affected by his domain. That is one powerful technique when you think about it. Due to Maki's current body state, her current ascension, domain expansions can't affect her. She's the anti-domain user. And unless she willingly goes in there, she can't be drawn into it. Not only that, but the guaranteed hits of domains can't affect Maki whatsoever because she has no cursed energy. She is the anti-domain expansion user. The only person whose domain expansion could affect her is Sukuna's, because his doesn't work the same way. His just works purely on reality itself and organic and inorganic things. But then again, one of his techniques probably won't work on her because she doesn't have any cursed energy, and one of his techniques requires that a user have cursed energy for them to be cleaved. So would she register with cleave then? Or is it the other? More appropriate translation of Nalya's domain's name is Time Wound Moon Palace, and his domain looks like a... Oh, Lord Jesus, you're right. I knew it looked weird, but I didn't think it was like the... I didn't think it was that. Wow. Wow, Nalya's more messed up than I thought. He's got a weird time cell moon palace. The translation, he probably just on extreme level where it can affect nearly almost anything. Well, Sukuna is just massively strong, so that's just Sukuna. But now that Chapri has said so, it really does look like a womb. His domain expansion looks like it's in the shape of a womb, like the area where people are standing on, and he has that massive eye that looks at people that can make it so that they can't move and they get hit the moment even their cells move. That's interesting. But also, it's funny how this is the last time we see this domain expansion. This is the first time we see it, and also the last time we see it, because Maki kills him. And he's not coming back as a cursed spirit because he's officially been exorcised. Overall, good chapter. Did I read what you said earlier? You have a theory, question. I feel and believe either two things. Itadori can see curses either because it's his bloodline from his grandfather, is why his family doesn't want nothing with him, or when he died. Him just recently died, he probably gave his life or whatever in him to Itadori. I don't know. That theory sounds nice, but I don't know. I don't know. But then again, we do have the memories of Yuji when he was a kid, and his father and his mother who was there, who for some odd reason had the same stitch line that whenever Kenjaku possesses a person. So there's a lot of questions there I don't want to delve into at the moment. That could have either been like a false memory or something else, but they never explained why he can see curses. No, they haven't explained it yet. I figure we'll find it out later, maybe. I don't know. That's something to think about, though, because we never did get explained how Yuji's able to see cursed spirits. I mean, he does have cursed energy within him. I don't think it necessarily means that his grandpa had anything to do with it, because there are some regular people who can notice something like cursed spirits and see cursed spirits, but those are just regular people. There's even some regular bystanders who can see that. But some who have like that enough cursed energy within them to see it. So I don't think it has anything to necessarily do with Yuji's lineage as to why he's able to see cursed spirits. It's just he's just another individual who's able to. So I'm looking here. Proficient learner, hand to hand, great cursed energy. Actually, when I think about it, Yuji is confirmed to be Kenjaku's son and somewhat Choso's brother. If you think Kenjaku stated Yuji as his son in chapter 160. Is this the one where I was going through the chapters and it had Yuji as a kid, and then it had Yuji's father, and then it had Yuji's mother, who had like a stitch line across her forehead, making it seem like she was another of Kenjaku's vessels? If that's the case, then that probably would explain why Yuji has such proficiency when it comes to cursed energy. So let me do this. Yuji, at some point, let me see. Okay, so that's one thing that went on with Yuji. Let me come down to the most recent thing when it comes to his memories. Now, is it true that Kenjaku, if that's the case, then that would explain so much of why Yuji has so much has so much proficiency with cursed energy. Because the cursed energy that's in him right now comes from him being Sukuna's vessel, so he can take advantage of that. But his proficiency with cursed energy, I wouldn't be surprised if Kenjaku has a part to play in it. Because Yuji doesn't have like parts where it goes to relationship and relatives. Unnamed mother, and then Wasuke Itadori, and then Jin Itadori. So his unnamed mother, we have here, let's see, loved his son. So right here, Itadori's extermination arc. In a flashback, Jin is holding the baby Yuji and tells his father that if he wants to talk about her, he will just leave. The older man is revealed to be Yuji's grandfather, Wasuke Itadori, who tells Jin that while he can live his life however he pleases, he will die if he doesn't give up on her. Jin tells Wasuke not to say such things in front of Yuji, since babies apparently remember more than most believe. Wasuke mentions the fact that Jin wanted a child with a woman named Kaori, but before Wasuke can say anything about her death, a woman with stitches on her forehead interrupts him and addresses him as her father-in-law, asking what he's talking about. So this stems the reason that Kenjaku probably had taken over the body of a woman at the time and helped bring Yuji into being. I don't even want to go through the process of this dude who put his brain into the body of a woman and then gave birth to Yuji. That's a whole can of worms right there that I'm not going to get into. So that might explain some things. Lord Jesus. But it just shows you how far Kenjaku is willing to go in order to preserve his own self and, bring about this whole culling game that's happening right now. Interesting. But overall, this was a great chapter. I enjoyed it. We saw the end of Naoya Zenin. We saw Maki finally reach the pinnacle of where Toji Zenin is. And now she's pretty much the strongest regular human in the series at the moment. Let me just say that. She's the strongest regular person. And I say regular as in she doesn't have any curse techniques that she can use like all the rest of the curse users. She's the strongest regular human in the world right now. And the only person that was able to take out her predecessor was Gojo. So now we got Maki, who's fighting on the side of humanity, and he can pair up with Gojo. Can you imagine Satoru Gojo and Maki Zenin fighting side by side? The strongest Jujutsu sorcerer and the world's strongest woman right now. That's a lot to process right now. Maki's on the same level of Toji Zenin, and Toji Zenin was already monstrously strong. He already had a reputation of killing multiple Jujutsu sorcerers simply because of his advantage of not having any cursed energy and all the techniques and skills he had. And the only one who could take him down was Gojo. Now, Maki is the same level as him. But I don't think we need to worry about Maki rebelling against Gojo because, well, she respects him. So that ought to be interesting. Once Gojo is finally unsealed, I'm just thinking about the moment when Gojo's finally unsealed from the prison realm. Once he gets out, all bets are off. Oh my goodness. I don't think he's not going to be happy being trapped in there, seeing everything that Kenjaku has done to the world. Well, done to Japan and pretty much everyone else. And all the people because Gojo's lost a lot of his friends during the Shibuya incident. So now, imagine how mad he's going to be once they finally get him out of the prison realm and he finally sees everything that's happening right now. The dude is not going to hold back. We're probably going to see the upper limits of the Limitless and the Six Eyes. I can't wait. But just seeing now Zenin being taken down by Maki, the person he calls utter trash and dogged every single step of the way, for her to be the one that kills him, and she does it so effortlessly. She does it so effortlessly. And she just takes him out. So now we need to get back to the whole Cullen game and catch up to pretty much everyone else. We need to catch up to Yuji. We need to catch up to Fushiguro and Panda and pretty much everyone else. We need to catch up to everyone and what they're doing now that we don't need to worry about Naoya anymore. And since we're not going on break, we can look forward to that chapter next week. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me not keep you here any longer than I already have. This was a great chapter of Jujutsu. Was I expecting Naoya to be just straight up bodied so quickly after revealing his domain expansion? No, but then again, this is Maki we're dealing with, and she doesn't have time to waste time. Just get in there, stab the dude, and then cut him, and then kill him, and then just leave. She just basically leaves after killing him. She doesn't stick around. She's all like, okay, I'm done here, time to go. She just like, she comes in, kills a cursed spirit, leaves without any explanation. Just like that meme you see around. But this was a good episode. This was a good chapter of Jujutsu. Oh my goodness, I want a Jujutsu Kaisen game so bad. Either like an action RPG or a Musou game. I just need a Jujutsu game so badly. Good God, someone make it! I will buy it! I will buy and play a full-fledged Jujutsu Kaisen console game. We need more anime games. We need more. But I'm done. Let me not keep you here. I've already kept you here longer. I'm sorry. All I can say is at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I'm excited because this was a good chapter. All I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. Yeah, Chapri, you're right. Higher-ups are screwed too. But that'll happen all in due time. Y'all see my eye twitching? I was trying to close it, and then it started burning. As soon as I tried to close my eye, I don't know what was going on with that.